Okay, guys. Here is the deal and what you need to realize on all of these problems. What I expect on all of these problems, I don't care if you can do them a different way. On all of these problems, I expect you to use, what does it say up top there? Use what? 1/2 times AP in all problems. I wrote it on some of the directions, not on others. But then I realized that I just need to put this at the top after I was doing all that, and that ought to be enough. Guys, I don't want you working. I want you doing the examples with me. Because I'm aware that on number 29, if that's 5, what's the width?
5.
You know the area here should be what? 25. 5 times 5, right? But this piece of paper is not here. I'm not having this here. And you probably, and let's look at number 28. Let's go ahead, I meant to draw these radiuses on here, but I didn't. I'm wanting to practice 1/2 apothem times perimeter because people have problems with that. So draw that, not radius, but draw the apothem for each problem. I meant for that to be drawn in already. I did it back here, okay? And I just forgot to draw those there. So I'm wanting you to use that. Now, for a lot of these, it's going to be, for some of these are easy. First of all, I wanted to talk to you about the directions. The directions here are find the area of each regular polygon rounded near to the nearest what? 10. So what does that mean? We can leave it as decimals. We don't have to leave it as square roots or anything like that, correct? So, area is equal to 1/2 apothem times perimeter. Here's what I want on every single problem. Up in the top right-hand corner, I want you to write A is equal to, capital P is equal to. You know how I always have you do things like that because I'm trying to teach you, and I want capital little a, capital P. Okay? I want you always to have that there. Realize that that's your formula for everything. Sometimes they're going to give it to you. First of all, do I know my apothem here? Have they given me my apothem? What is the apothem? Distance from what? The center to what? The midpoint. So you know this gets cut in half. And it's always what? Creates a right angle. That is your apothem. So is your apothem given to you here? Yes, it is. That's my apothem. So my apothem here is what? 2.3. My perimeter, is my perimeter given to me?
Yes.
No, it's not. Indirectly. 3 times what?
8.
Go ahead and put that on there. I want to see that. Now, once you have done, you found A and you found P, now, every time, you don't have to write the formula every time, I just have it up there, but I want to see you put it into the formula just like I'm doing. Everything except for this right here, you need to do exactly like this on your sheet of paper. And if you says if you don't show all steps and work, don't bother turning it in. Can I be any more clear? Probably not. So put your apothem in 2.3. I want to see parentheses times your perimeter, 24. Now the rest is what? Calculator work. So do the calculator work. 0.5 times 2.3 times 24. What do you get? Huh? Is there any units? It's basically units squared, isn't it? That's not very hard, is it? These types are easy. Look down here. You'll notice they'll get progressively harder as we go along, and you'll notice, and you need to notice the difference. I've also given you 2 types of directions here. In this one, round to the nearest what? 10. Here this says just in what?
Simplest form.
Beside all ones that here I want you in parentheses, I want you to put exact. So what does this mean? I'm gonna leave pies in there, square roots in there, there's not gonna be any pies. But in other words, I'm gonna leave square roots in there. Now, for instance, now, here's the deal, look on this one right here. As long as, if it's exact, if you start with a decimal, you can end with a decimal, it's just you don't round it. However many decimal places you're left with, you take it there, okay? Here, apothem is equal to, capital P for perimeter is equal to. Have they given me my apothem? Huh? 8 square root of what? 3. Have they given me perimeter? No, my perimeter is, well, whatever each side is, which is what? Times how many sides are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So times what? So what is my perimeter? 96? Is that correct? Your next step, I want to see area equal to, and then I want each one put in. 1/2, apothem, what's your apothem? Times your perimeter, which is what? Now, they ask for an exact answer here. So you're going to have to go about this in a little bit of a different way. Worry about all the things, realize, and you don't have to necessarily write this step, but I want you guys to understand that here is what this problem is. There's a 2 on bottom, right? All of this is over 1 over 1. So it's basically 2 times 1 times 1. Do you guys see that on the bottom? On the top, it's 1 times 8 times square root of 3 times what? Guys, I'll give you a second to write this down if you need to. You guys understand? Everyone look up here. Do you understand how I'm getting that? Now, can't I just say this 2 will go into this 8 how many times? Then there's all 1s left on the bottom. If there's all 1s, 1 times 1 times 1, it's a whole, it's not a fraction anymore. So the area is equal to 4 times what? 96, which is what? 384, but what do I have to stack onto? Then circle your answer. Circle your answer every time. And write A equals. A equals. That's an exact answer, isn't it? And it's always in area, so it should be in square units. I should have put units on these. I did forget to add those.
Can you not simplify that square root at all?
No, you cannot simplify the square root because the largest perfect square that's a factor of square root of 3 is 1. Any questions there? So you see the difference between the directions, exact or simplest form and what? Rounding. Now, let's face it, the first page and these first ones are probably not the reason, not the hard part. Let's look at number 7. First of all, I told you this is a regular polygon. To find the area of a regular polygon, you need to know what the apothem is and what the perimeter is. So those are the 2 things we've got to find. What has been given to me? Anything? Apothem, 15 square root of 3 over what? 2. Now, they did not give you a side, did they? So the perimeter is what I need to find. So I need that side, don't I? I know that that cuts that in half. Everyone stop writing and just watch what I'm doing up here. Everyone get out, if you took the notes from the video, did I not break down the interior angles of regular polygons for however many sides it has? Huh? How many sides does this have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what? 6. So what are each of these angles here? Those of you who don't realize how we got that, you don't necessarily have to do this because I should have already broke it down. It's what? N minus 2 times what? 180 divided by the number of sides. So in this case, it was what? 6 minus 2 times 180 divided by what? Which equals 120. What does the radius always do? See how this is the radius? It bisects that angle, making that a what? That's 90, that's 60, this is what?
30.
Okay. Now, I'm going to redraw this triangle just, well, I guess I can just zoom in. Which is what? What is this side? It's a 30, 60, 90 triangle. What is this? This is S, is it not? This is L, and this is what? I need that S, don't I? Because that'll tell me what half of each side is, correct? Because to find the perimeter, I need to know what this side is. So, S is equal to what? Whatever the longer leg is divided by what? Square root of 3? Now, you don't have to necessarily write this on here, but I do want to see S is equal to, and then I want you to see 15 square roots of 3 over 2 divided by square root of 3. Now, when you divide, you can't divide fractions, can you? Because see, wasn't this L? L is what? 15 square root of 3 over 2? So this becomes 15 square root of 3 over 2 times, to divide by square root of 3 is the same thing as to multiply by its reciprocal, which is 1 over square root of 3. What happens nicely here? What do your square roots of 3 do? So S is equal to 15 over 2, which is what? 7 point what? 5. Because remember, I can round to the nearest tenth here, so I can write that as 7.5 because I haven't rounded or anything, have I? Okay. What does that make? If this right here is 7.5, what's this? So what is the whole side now? So that makes each one of these sides what? Now can I find the perimeter? So we had to do this first. Then second, the perimeter is equal to, how many sides are there? So what's the perimeter equal to? So now I've found the two things I need. So my last thing, and always your last thing, which is always the easiest, is just to simply what? Put it into what? The formula, 1/2 apothem, which is 15 square root of 3 over 2, times the perimeter, which is what? 90. Now, are we simplifying here, or are we rounding to the nearest tenth? Huh? Rounding to the nearest tenth. So I can put all that into my calculator. I can go 15 times 90 times square root of 3 equals, then divided by 2 equals, and then divided by 2 equals. What do you guys get? Is that what everybody else got? Square units. Any questions there? I'll put this on canvas. number 7. Okay. Let's see which one we need to do now. Well, look at these. Find the area of each regular polygon. What's still given to you? The what? Apothem, right? So it's the same type of problem. Just, you're going to have to leave it what? In simplest form. Now, let's try number 16. I have a feeling I may not like what they do here on this one. We need to find the apothem, and we need to find the perimeter, correct? Okay. What are we always going to have to end up doing? Drawing our what? Oh, we won't have to here, will it? They gave us everything, didn't they? So let's not do this one. This is a mistake. These are actually, No, it didn't. They gave us the apothem, which is what? 12.9. The perimeter is going to be what? 5 times what? 18.8. And then you just put it into, put your apothem there, you put your perimeter right there. Everyone agree? You guys can do the rest of that, can't you? Now, number 18. For these, I would like you to draw, for all of these, draw your what? Your apothem. So it looks like you need to do that for 18, 19, for 20. Because when we're using apothem times perimeter, we're going to need that stuff, aren't we? Okay. Let's go ahead and do number 21. The reason I want to do number 21 is because they want us to leave this in what? Simplest form. So what does that mean? Exact, right? So no rounding. Now if they start with a decimal, you can end with a decimal. Just no rounding that decimal. Now what does this apothem always do? It comes down here and creates a what? Right angle, and what does it do to this side? Cuts it in half. Anytime they don't give you both of them, you're going to have to probably draw the what type of triangle that's created? The right triangle. If this whole thing is 32 square root of 3, and this throws some people sometimes. What's this length right here? And what's throwing you all off? The what? Square root of 3. No matter what something is, how do I cut it in half?
Divided by 2.
So 8, if I want to cut it in half, I divide it by what?
2.
143, if I want to cut it in half, what do I do? Divide it by? If I want to cut Stickman in half, what do I do? Divide him by?
2.
Okay? It doesn't change just because it's an ugly number like what? 32 square roots of 3. If half of that is exactly that, half of that. So 32 square root of 3 divided by what?
2.
What does that come out to be? You can leave it like that, or you can simplify and realize 2 will go into that one time, will go into that what? 16 square root of 3? Does that make sense, everyone? So don't let those square roots mess with you too much, okay? So we figured out that. Now, we got to figure out what that angle is. I either need another side or I need that angle to either use trig functions or to use something to find the answer. Now, right here, what is this angle? Well, this is a what? Three-sided regular polygon. What do these angles have to be? Making this angle, making this one what? What type of triangle do we have? Huh? 30, 60, 90. This is H. This is what? That's L, it's opposite 60, and that's what? So what do we need to find? S, right? So zoom back out. S is, you don't have to write this, but I'm going to write it again. L divided by square root of what? 3. What is L? 16 square root of 3 divided by what? What happens nicely here? 16. And what should I have written over here? A is equal to, capital P is equal to. I told you guys to do that for every problem. So, S is our apothem, isn't it? It's 16. Now, what's our perimeter? It's what? There's how many sides? What is each side? 32 square root of 3? So what's the perimeter?
96 square roots of 3?
Huh?
96 square roots of 3?
Perfect. All right, so I've got the two things I need. Last thing, put it into the formula. Area is equal to 1/2 what? Apothem, which is what? Times the perimeter, which is what? 96 square root of what? Now, can I just put this into my calculator, or they want me to simplify? Leave it in simplest exact form, right? So that means leaving that as square root of 3, doesn't it? What's half of 16? So 1 becomes 8. What's 8 times 96?
768.
768 square root of what?
Square root of 3.
Square units. Here's your answer. Because they wanted it in exact form, did they not? It's not so terrible, is it? So this is number what, 21? And I'll put this on canvas. Two more problems and we're done. I know it's taking a while, but I'm going to do one like each one of them. If you notice that, what's the difference between this problem? This problem I was given a side, wasn't I? The other problem I was given the apothem, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Last type, we'll do one of these. How about this one? In this particular case, on number 24, what did they give me? The radius. So I need to draw the what? So in any of these problems, if there's not an apothem drawn, you sure need to draw it, don't you?
Yep.
Okay. Well, as I was telling you guys, we need to find what? To find the area, we need to find the apothem, and we need to find the perimeter. There's different ways we can do that. All of them involved, I need to know this angle right here. Well, what type of regular polygon is this? Square. So each of these are what?
90. And that cuts in half, so it's
This cut in half, so this one's what?
45.
Making this what? So we've got what type of triangle? 45, 45 what? 90 triangle. Just so there's no confusion, this is the one that's 16, isn't it? Well, if the hypotenuse, the leg in a 45, 45, 90 triangle is equal to the hypotenuse divided by what? Square root of what? So, first here, to find this, I need to find what? My base of my apothem, or L, is equal to, this right here is equal to 16 divided by what? Square root of 2. Now, there's nothing you can do to that. Now, if that was your final answer and they wanted it exact, go on ahead and rationalize the denominator, you know, and not have any in the bottom. But what are you going to end up doing here? You're going to end up rounding to the nearest what? So you're going to put it into your calculator anyway? So why mess with all that? Just say right now, it's okay to have an ugly number. My apothem is what? 16 divided by what? Square root of 2. Now here's the deal. If this is 16 square root of 2, what's this side? Huh? 16 divided by square root of 2. Making this other half what? 16 divided by what? Square root of 2. So how am I going to find the perimeter? What is each side? Well, it's 16 square root of 2 plus what? But you got a common denominator, so it would be 32 over what? Square root of 2. Right? But guys, let's say that confused you. Could you just say 16 square root of 2 plus 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 16 square root of 2? Couldn't you? Okay. Find your perimeter though. There's 4 sides. Each side is 32 over square root of 2. What do you get as your perimeter? 4 times 32. What is 4?
128 square root of 2.
Huh?
128 square root of 2.
Over square root of 2. Now, the whole reason we do that is because now when we put it into formula, apothem is equal to 1/2, or I'm sorry, area is equal to 1/2 the apothem, which is 16 over square root of 2, times the perimeter, which is what? 128 over what? Square root of 2. This is actually, believe it or not, easier if you simplify before you multiply, but you could just do all this in the calculator because you are just round to the nearest tenth. But if you look, the 2 cancels with the what? Making that 8, right? Just out of curiosity, what's square root of 2 times square root of 2 going to be? 8 times 128. 1,024 divided by 2.
512.
That's your answer. Oh, I didn't scoot this over where we can see the number. You guys don't think that's right?
No, because
No, because that's only half of it. So the whole thing added together is 32 over square root of 2.
Well, I mean, the 16 divided by radical 2 for the to get the leg would be 8 radical 2, wouldn't it? If you,
No, it wouldn't be.
because look, it's
Did you-
already half
All right,
of
did
it.
you rationalize the denominator?
yeah, because you multiply.
Yeah, it'd be 8 radical 2. You're right. So it's 16 radical 2.
Yeah.
So 16 radical 2 times 4 is what, 80,
Six,
64 radical 2?
yeah.
I bet if you look up 128 divided by radical 2 is the same number as 64 times radical 2. But see, if you rationalize the denominator when it's 128, you multiply the bottom by square root of 2, multiply the top by square root of 2, you get 64 square root of 2.
My brain hurts.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Now, just when you thought it was okay to go back in the water again, that's a joke, Jaws joke. Let's look at number 32. Okay. These are the ones where I drew them for you. Just right now, you know you don't have both of them, so just finish out your triangle. How many sides does this thing have? What is the base angle of an 8-sided regular polygon? What does it say in your notes?
120%.
Huh?
Was that 120?
No. That's a hexagon. It's n minus 2 times 180 divided by n. Like I said, I gave you guys a chart you were supposed to write down in your notes to be able to use, so you wouldn't have to do that every time. Huh? 108. So each of these are 108 degrees. Making this one what? 54 degrees. Okay, now here's the nice thing. Do I already know my perimeter here?
Mm-hmm.
How many sides are there?
8, so it'd be
What is
500.
each side? So what's the perimeter? So, zooming in here, what's that make this side right here? Tell you what, I will go ahead and
2.5.
redraw this triangle. All I'm doing is redrawing the triangle that was already, that's right up there. Just kind of making it bigger. This is my apothem. This is what I need, right? This is what? What does this always do to the
2.5.
apothem? Cuts it in half, so this is what?
2.5.
This is what?
54.
Is this some kind of special right triangle?
No.
No, it's not. So how am I going to find A? Using SOHCAHTOA. Our trig functions. Remember, the problem tells you which trig function. With respect to this angle, what have they given you?
They're given
Opposite and the what? Adjacent. Which one is that?
tangent.
So the tangent, and it's always tangent of a what? Angle, which in this case is what?
54.
Is equal to the opposite, which is what? A,
Over
divided by the adjacent, which is what?
2.5.
So what happens here? A is equal to whatever you get. Let's see, we're going to cross multiply. It's tangent 54 times 2.5, right? What do you get your apothem to be? But, well, what do they want us to do? Round to the nearest tenth here? Yep. So let's take it to about 4 decimal places. What do you get? Huh? Tangent of 54 times 2.5. What do you get? 4 what?
3.4.
I still can't understand what you're saying. No. No, because, guys, you don't want to round this yet because you're not to the end. You want to take it probably 2 to 3 more decimal places more than what you've got. Okay? So here you need to go 54 tangent times 2.5 So 3.44. 3.441, right? And 3's probably enough. 3 decimal places. So now the only thing left to do, third thing is always what? Area is equal to 1/2 what? Apothem, which is what? 3.441 times perimeter, which is what? 40. 3.441 times 0.5 times 40 equals 68.82, so it's 68 point what? 8 square units. Circle your answer. So this is one where we use trig functions. So I've done about every type of problem you could have on this, haven't I?